This is every episode of my Random Rock Bucket series, which ended. However, I decided to make one more video that combines all the episodes. For those new, the Random Rock Bucket series was a series in which I pulled 5 random rocks out completely randomized and just showed you what they look like. So if you like rocks, this video is for you. So instead of having to scroll back and finding each episode, which might be annoying, it's just all 8 episodes right here for you to enjoy. So, enjoy. Welcome to the Random Rock Bucket. I'll be pulling 5 rocks out and showing you what they look like. This is a new mini-series. Most of these rocks are new, however there are a couple rocks in here from my collection that needed better cleaning. Here's the first rock. The rock itself isn't rare or anything, but it just kinda looks cool. You just can't really see it all that well since it's kinda wet still. I think this rock is somewhat related to quartz, however I don't really know. It's time for the second rock. By the way, my head is facing a different direction, so I'm not seeing what rocks I pull out of. This is one of my rocks from my collection. It just needed a better cleaning. I really like this rock. I still cannot believe I found it as a driveway stone. I would never expect a rock like this to be magnetic, but it is. It's time for the third rock. I was trying to feel out a smaller rock that I can show. This third rock reminds me a lot of the first rock since it's kind of smooth and kind of crystally, but it's a different mineral. This rock is definitely a lot more closely related to quartz. Actually, it's made up of quartz, kind of, but it's not like a quartz rock. It's a cool, smooth crystal rock. Not bad. It's time for rock 4. I decided to go deep with this one. Of course, the small rocks are not on top. It took me a good second. We have another smooth crystal rock. This rock is smooth, but not the same. This rock really only has one side that's kind of like a crystal rock. The rest of this rock is just normal. What makes this rock special is that one side right here. I mean, it has lines in it, which means it's not the same formation process. Or maybe not the same minerals. It's time for the 5th and final rock. Ignore my hairy knee there in the corner. There you are, I got you. I'm surprised that I actually got a second rock from my collection since I didn't have too many of those in here. This is my magnetic green mineral rock. Unfortunately, since it's white, you can't really see the sparkles, but it's just a cool rock. This rock is honestly so weird. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Episode 2 of my Random Rock Bucket mini-series. As in the first video, I'm not actually looking when I pull the rocks out, so they're completely random. I'll be pulling 5 rocks out. The first rock I pull out is a piece of marble. This piece of marble I found mostly buried, which means it's pretty badly dirt stained. Now if I clean this rock with some soap, it should be pretty good. It will be a pretty cool piece of marble. It's time for the second rock. I mixed them up a little bit. The second rock I pull out is kind of like has some quartz in it and some other weird minerals. Unfortunately, this rock is pretty badly dirt stained as well. However, I should be able to clean it up pretty good. You can kind of still see some of the quartz and other weird minerals on it. Not sure if I'm going to keep this one. It's time for the third rock. I decided to mix the rocks up pretty good. The third rock is actually from my collection and I just needed better cleaning for it. With the way that the minerals are shaped, this rock is probably an igneous extrusive rather than igneous intrusive, mainly because the minerals are kind of just all different sizes and they're not like circles, like they're really big lines. It's kind of weird. Some of them kind of have cleavage planes, but you can't really see it. You can see a cleavage plane right here, that glowy little bit right there. It's time for the 4th rock from the rock bucket. I took a good second here. Now this next rock is a complete mystery to me other than the fact that it has some quartz in it. On some of the corners you can see little white places, which I assume is just quartz, but overall this rock is like a weird kind of like light brown color. And no, this rock is not dirt stained, it just kind of looks like it because of the water. It's time for the 5th and final rock. All the rocks in today's episode were really big, so I really wanted one of the smaller rocks that would be towards the bottom. I pulled out this little quartz. At first glance, this rock really is just a boring, basic, kind of low quality quartz, but there is one thing about this rock I'll show you in a second that's cool. It has this really long hexagonal crystal, I think that's what it is right there. Overall, just a bunch of cool rocks. This is probably my favorite rock of the 5. A pretty cool looking rock. This rock has a whole bunch of holes all over it, which I'm guessing are some sort of gas bubbles from when the rock formed. This rock also has a weird little dark red V under here. I don't know what that is. Just such a weird rock with weird colors. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Episode 3 of my Random Rock Bucket series. This is a mini-series in which I randomly pick 5 rocks out of the bucket and show you what they look like. First up, as soon as I felt a small rock, I decided to grab it, and this was one of my smallest rocks in here. Unfortunately, since this rock is wet right now, I can't really show you what makes this rock look so cool, but do not worry because I will show you what it looks like later. Or how about now? This rock has a bunch of weird spots and patterns, and then there's this side. I'm pretty sure that's a moss or lichen that grows on rocks because I see it all the time. It's time for the second rock. Since I felt a small rock, this time I will be filling out a big rock to pull out. The second rock is actually from my collection, and it's a really cool piece of diorite which you will see later. Unfortunately, just like with the first rock, you can't really see all the shiny metals and whatnot within this rock because it's all wet, but I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Here's how it looks all cleaned up. In person, this rock is a lot better, trust me. Unfortunately, you can't really see it as well, but you can still see some of the cleavage planes within this rock. It's time for the third rock. Since I grabbed a small and large rock, I decided to feel out one of the medium-sized ones. Unfortunately, I grabbed another rock from my collection. This rock is about 40% quartz and 60% magnetic minerals. Unfortunately, this rock was just really badly dirt stained, however it came out a lot better. I decided to clean this rock with some more soap and water later, and it came out better but still not perfect. I like the green mineral though. It's time for the fourth rock. I decided to stir the rocks up so I can get something different. Luckily this time I grabbed a new rock, and it's kind of like a smooth crystal-y rock. The rock itself is not rare or anything, but the way that it formed and all the cool looking lines, I just really like it. Overall, a pretty cool rock that I'll be adding to the collection. It's time for the fifth and final rock. I decided to grab one of the bigger rocks, and unfortunately I grabbed yet another one from my collection. Luckily, in the future episodes I really shouldn't have to deal with any more rocks from my collection already, and we'll be able to focus on new rocks. This is kind of just a cool like basalt rock, I'm assuming. I don't really know, with all the dimples and divots. It's just a weird cool rock. Here's some more footage of this diorite. Luckily for today's episode, we've pretty much eliminated most of my collection rocks, so hopefully I should be left with only new ones, and a few of my collection rocks, but whatever. The bucket is about halfway full of rocks now, so we've pretty much gone through half of the bucket's volume. However, there's 2 really big rocks in there, so it's actually not that much left. I'd probably say 3 or 4 episodes worth. All I know is that the biggest rock at the bottom it just doesn't even look real. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's super rare, I'm guessing. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Episode 4 of my Random Rock Bucket series. I randomly select 5 rocks out of this bucket and show you what they look like. First up, we got this weird little quartz crystal. This rock is mostly quartz with a bottom that is not quartz. It's some sort of other mineral. For around here, this quartz is actually a pretty good quality. I mean, nothing crazy or anything, but it's actually not too bad. The value of quartz is generally based on how much you can see through it. This back side, you can actually see through it a little bit. The other 3 sides are pretty much just garbage quartz, however that back piece is not too bad. It's time for the second rock. As always, I completely randomly select the rocks without looking. Next up is a completely ordinary rock except for the lichen growing on it. The lichen or moss on this rock is actually pretty common for around here, and I see it on a lot of rocks. But in this rock specifically, it just has a cool pattern, and I just kind of like it. That's pretty much the only reason why I took it. The rock itself is very ordinary, just kind of like the normal gray color. However, the top piece is what makes this rock so cool looking. Whatever this is, I'm guessing it's some sort of lichen. It grows on rocks, and it's pretty common. Just a cool pattern. Hopefully it doesn't infect the rest of my rocks. It's time for the third rock. I decided to shuffle the rocks around just a little bit. Next up is a completely ordinary rock. The only reason I took it is because it's abnormally green. Unfortunately, the sun is kind of a different color today because of all the smoke that's in the air. It's kind of like an orange, which is why you can't really see the colors very well, but this is a really green rock. Even in normal lighting, this rock just does not look that green. I mean, you can kind of see it, kind of. It's a lot more green in person. And the lichen has spread to this rock. Oh god, did I just create a problem? It's time for the fourth rock. Let's hope we get something really cool this time. And in fact, we did. Or at least I think it's cool. This rock has a really cool green line going through it, but unfortunately, same problem, the sun's just kinda not the right color and it's wet. Trust me, it'll look really cool once it's cleaned up, and once I show you it in a second. For some reason, my camera just does not like the color green, because this is not this type of gray in person, trust me. It's more of a green-gray color, kind of like gray, but you can tell the difference. It's time for the fifth and final rock. I'm gonna be honest with you, I took this rock on purpose. I could feel its texture out. I just needed to get it out because it's a really big rock. This is a rock from my collection that's really badly dirt stained. This is a really porous, igneous, extrusive rock that I'm guessing is some sort of basalt. It cleaned up pretty good, however, it's still dirt stained and it's pretty much going to be what it is. Coda, why are we always photobombing? Fuck off! That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later.